The impact of childhood trauma on adulthood. Childhood traumas can profoundly impact our adult lives. These experiences can lead to insecurity, anxiety, depression, and other psychological challenges. However, it's important to know that overcoming these difficulties and leading a healthier life is possible. What is childhood trauma? Childhood trauma encompasses a wide range of experiences, and each child's experience is unique. Some common examples include physical abuse, acts of physical violence such as hitting, shaking, or burning. Emotional abuse, constant criticism, humiliation, belittling, threats, lack of love, and neglect. Sexual abuse, any sexual act committed against a child without their consent. Neglect, failure to provide a child's basic needs including food, shelter, clothing, medical care, and emotional support. Domestic violence, witnessing physical or emotional violence between parents. Separation or divorce, the separation or divorce of parents and the resulting changes in a child's life. Highly contentious and high-conflict divorces can be particularly traumatic. Loss, the death of a loved one such as a parent, sibling, grandparent, or pet. Natural disasters, events like earthquakes, floods, or fires. Accidents, car accidents, falls, and other accidental injuries. Chronic illnesses, a child's own long-term serious illness or that of a close family member. War or displacement, living in a war zone or being forcibly displaced. Bullying, being physically, verbally, or socially bullied by peers. Why doesn't every event cause trauma in everyone? People react to the same events differently. Several factors influence whether an event will be traumatic. Severity and duration of the event. The more severe and prolonged the event, the greater the risk of trauma. Child's age and developmental stage. Children at different ages react differently to traumatic events. For example, even a brief separation from a parent can be traumatic for a young child, while an older child might be less affected. Support systems. The support a child receives from family, friends, or other adults can mitigate the effects of trauma. Children with strong support networks are better equipped to cope with difficult events. Personality traits and coping mechanisms. Some children are naturally more resilient and can cope with stress more effectively. Meaning and interpretation of the event. How a child perceives and interprets the event is crucial. For instance, if a child blames themselves for an injury resulting from an accident, it can be traumatic. The effects of childhood trauma on adulthood. Childhood trauma can manifest in various ways in adulthood. Some common effects include self-esteem and self-perception. Low self-esteem. Individuals constantly criticized, humiliated, or unloved in childhood may view themselves as worthless, inadequate, and undeserving of love. For example, a child constantly told, "You can't do anything right," may struggle with self-confidence when starting a new job or relationship as an adult. Negative self-beliefs. They may develop negative beliefs like, "I'm bad," "I'm to blame," or "I'm not worthy of love." For example, a child who experienced sexual abuse may avoid sexual intimacy or feel dirty as an adult. Perfectionism. Individuals who faced constant high expectations or strived for approval in childhood may become perfectionistic as adults. They may fear making mistakes and be overly critical of themselves. Relationships and attachment. Insecure attachment styles. Individuals who experienced inconsistent care or abandonment in childhood may develop insecure attachment styles in adulthood. Avoidant, avoiding intimacy. Anxious, preoccupied, constantly seeking reassurance and fearing abandonment. Or disorganized, exhibiting conflicting behaviors and a fear of intimacy. Difficulties in close relationships. They may fear intimacy, struggle to connect emotionally, avoid conflict, or overreact to disagreements. For example, an adult who witnessed domestic violence may avoid conflict in their adult relationships or have anger management issues during arguments. Codependent relationships. Individuals neglected or emotionally abused in childhood may form codependent relationships as adults, becoming overly reliant on others for validation and neglecting their own needs. Physical and mental health. Chronic illnesses. Childhood trauma can increase the risk of chronic illnesses such as heart disease, diabetes, and autoimmune disorders in adulthood. Fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. These conditions can be linked to traumatic experiences. Psychological disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, depression, anxiety disorders, panic disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, eating disorders, and personality disorders can develop. Work and career. Work performance and stability. Childhood trauma can negatively affect work performance, leading to difficulty concentrating, lack of motivation, absenteeism, or frequent job changes. Relationships with authority figures. Those who had troubled relationships with authority figures in childhood may experience difficulties with supervisors or other authority figures in the workplace. Career choices. Traumatic experiences can influence career choices. For instance, someone who experienced medical neglect in childhood might choose to work in healthcare. Parenting skills. Childhood trauma can negatively impact parenting skills, leading to impatience, anger management issues, or emotional distance towards their own children. Intergenerational transmission of trauma. Untreated trauma can be passed down through generations. Parents who have experienced trauma may unconsciously project its effects onto their children. These examples illustrate the wide-ranging impact childhood trauma can have on adult life. Overcoming childhood trauma. Overcoming childhood trauma is challenging but possible. Treatment options include psychotherapy, an effective method for overcoming trauma and leading a healthier life. Medication. In some cases, medication may be necessary in addition to therapy. Support groups. Connecting with others who have shared similar experiences can provide valuable support. Body-based therapies, e.g. the somatic experiencing. These approaches help heal the effects of trauma on the body. Art and music therapy. These creative outlets can be especially helpful for those who struggle to express traumatic experiences verbally. EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, a particularly effective treatment for PTSD. Mindfulness and meditation. These practices can help manage anxiety and stress. Connecting with nature. Spending time in nature reduces stress and promotes well-being. Healthy lifestyle. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and sufficient sleep improve both physical and mental health. Self-compassion. It's crucial to stop self-blame and be understanding towards oneself. Remember, healing from trauma is possible. Seeking professional help and implementing the above suggestions can lead to a healthier and happier life. If you are struggling with issues related to childhood trauma, please don't hesitate to consult a professional. Conclusion. Childhood trauma can profoundly impact adult life, but overcoming these challenges is possible. If you have experienced childhood trauma or are currently struggling with its effects, please seek professional help. Healing from trauma is a journey that requires support and self-compassion. What kind of traumas have you experienced in the past? Feel free to share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Together, we can support each other on the path to healing and growth.